So if you're new to long range shooting, you might be wondering which kind of rifle to get, and I'm here to tell you it doesn't really matter that much. Modern CNC machining techniques are so good that uh, Savage, for instance, they're making a half-minute rifle that costs, I don't know how much that costs. I don't really shop for rifles that often, but $500, $600, maybe up to $800. Especially if you're willing to look on the used market, you can find really good deals. But any Savage with an Accu trigger is going to probably shoot lights out. Any AR-15 with a good barrel and an okay trigger is going to shoot lights out. The new Remingtons, I don't like their X-Mark trigger, or I think that's what it's called. That new Remington trigger is terrible. So, sorry Remington, you made a crummy trigger. But you can replace it and get like a Timney, or I have a Huber trigger in one of my rifles that's really good, amazing trigger. I like, for AR-15, I like the Rock River Arms triggers. They're cheap and they just work, and they're good enough for what I do, which is long range dirt tactical steel type shooter, whatever. I don't know what kind of shooting I'm doing, but I'm not competing much, and I just think it's fun to shoot steel at long range, and I like teaching people how to do it. It's a great hobby. So that's what I would get. I would get a Savage or get an AR-15. A lot of people want to you can't buy a good shot. Like, you can't spend money and become an accurate, great shooter. You have to shoot a lot to do that. And a crummy shooter with Grandpa's old Winchester Model 70 is going to outshoot. Wait, did I say that wrong? A good shooter with a bad rifle is way better than a bad shooter with a good rifle. And I had a guy come to one of my last classes. He had a Smith Enterprise M14, and something was wrong with it. I don't know, like there was some loose parts, or it went back to the factory or the shop, and it was shooting like 5 inches at 100 yards, but I still had him hitting like a man-sized target at 500 yards by the end of the day. He was hitting it every time. I mean, 5 inches at 100 yards will still hit a man-sized target, apparently. But that's pretty bad. I mean, you should be able to put them all in less than an inch at 100 yards with a cheaper rifle, I think. But maybe a half inch if you had a really good AR-15 or a really good Savage 308 or whatever. Also, caliber selection, I'm not so picky about that. You want to get something you can afford to shoot. So if it comes in a special box marked Norma or Lazzaroni or something, you're not going to shoot it very much. Guaranteed, it's going to be painful every time you pull a trigger. I think the best choice for a beginner shooter is to get something in 5.56. Chambered like a 223 Wild chamber with like a 20-inch barrel, 223, 5.56, whatever, and shoot the Berger. No, well, Berger is good, but the Sierra Match King 80 grains, or if it's in an AR-15, maybe you want to shoot the 77 grain SMKs so they fit in the magazine, and low recoil, so you're not going to develop a flinch or get sore from shooting a lot. And you should be able to hit like an 18-inch target at 800 yards almost every time with that. Unless it's really windy. If it's really windy, depends on how good of a wind reader you are, which that's kind of the dirty secret, is elevation is easy and wind will take the rest of your life to get good at. reading the wind is just pure voodoo magic as far as I'm concerned. But we do the best we can, and we sometimes adopt the 2 shots, 1 kill philosophy, or if you're shooting at still, you don't have to say kill because you're not killing anybody. But anyway, yeah, just get an AR-15 with a good barrel, like a Lothar Walther or a Douglas. If you're a new shooter, you don't need to get the Krieger. I mean, if you can, that's great, but unless you're going to be shooting off a bench or in a competition, I don't think it's worth the extra money. Sometimes you can get a Douglas or a Lothar Walther or something like that for maybe $300 for an AR-15. And I really like the 20-inch length. I think that's plenty good for what you want. With my 16-inch Douglas rifle, I have an AR-15 with a Douglas barrel. With that rifle, I'm getting, 800 yards is not a big deal for that rifle. For field grade accuracy, for having a good time. If you're wanting to compete, obviously you want something faster, more accurate, whatever. You're some kind of a 6mm maybe, but just for getting started, having fun, and affordability, AR-15 is a really good way to go. Or bolt action in .223 or .556, but.